Hey everyone, Miss Hood here. Today I'm going to go over how we can solve for force, mass, or acceleration using Newton's law. In this video, part 1, I'm going to go over how we can do this just using our simple formula. The first thing to remember whenever you're reading through these questions is to pay attention to the units. For force, that's always going to be in newtons. For mass, is always going to be in kilograms. And for acceleration, it's always going to be in meters per second squared. So if you know that, going through our questions make it a little bit easier. So let's go through some of them together. Question number 1 says, how much force? That means force is what we're solving for. Is needed to accelerate a 7 kilogram mass, so that's our mass, at 2 meters per second squared. So that's our acceleration. Once I know what I'm solving for, I can start putting them into my formula. I have force is equal to mass, which in this case is 7 kilograms, times 2 meters per second squared. That's our acceleration. Once I plug them into my formula, all I have to do is multiply. 7 times 2 is just 14. And our units for force are always going to be newtons. And that's my answer for question number 1. Pretty easy, right? Let's go through a couple more. For question number 2, it says, what is the mass? So that's what I'm solving for. Of an object that requires 50 newtons of force to accelerate it at 5 meters per second squared. So that's my acceleration. Once I have all of my information, I can start plugging things into my formula. I have 50 newtons of force is equal to my mass, but that's what I don't know, times my acceleration, which in this case is 5 meters per second squared. Now the problem here is I need to solve for mass, but right now it's being multiplied by 5 meters per second. So if I want to get rid of that 5 meters per second, I just need to do the opposite. And the opposite of multiply is divide. But what I do to one side, I also have to do the same thing to the other. When I do that, my 5 meters per second squared are going to cancel out, and I'm left with mass on the right-hand side. To solve for mass, I take that 50 newtons, divide it by 5 meters per second. When I do that, I'm left with 10 kilograms. You don't need to know how those numbers come to be. Just remember that kilograms is always our unit for mass. And that's our answer. Pretty easy, right? Let's go through one more together, and then we'll be done. Question number 3 says, what is the acceleration of a 6 kilogram mass pushed by a 12 Newton force? All right, now that we know what we have, let's plug it into our formula. Force is equal to mass times acceleration. Notice how this problem is really similar to the last one, except now we're solving for acceleration. But I still need to get acceleration by itself on the right-hand side. And right now it's being multiplied by 6 kilograms. So in order to get rid of that 6 kilograms, I have to do the opposite, which in this case is divide. But what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. When I do that, my 6 kilograms will cancel out, and I'm left with acceleration on the right-hand side. To find acceleration, I take the 12 newtons, divide it by 6 kilograms, and I get 2. Our units for acceleration are always meters per second squared. And that's my answer. And that's it. Now you know how to solve for force, mass, and acceleration, all using our formula. That's all I have for you guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.